In 1912, China became a republic, and from then on it strived to take its place within the nations of the world. And one of the first attempts that were made was to join the Allies in the First World War. In 1917, China became member of the Allied Triple Entente on the condition that an end would be made to these unequal treaties, at least for Germany, and that at the end of the world, if the war was successful, the German possessions in China would be returned to China. That year, in 1917, 140,000 Chinese were sent to France as labor corps. They digged trenches. Many died in France. But when the war was over and the Versailles Treaty sealed the agreements between the Allied nations and Germany, the German possessions were taken, were not returned to Germany, but were given to Japan. And that was something that, of course, China could not admit, could not condone. So here's a very important date in modern Chinese history. The 4th May of 1919, a few days after the conclusion of the Versailles Treaty, the students of this university staged spontaneously a demonstration on the Tiananmen Place to protest against what had been done and how China had been spoiled of his rightful and had been the rightful claim of getting again the German possessions in Shandong under its own sovereignty. This movement sparked a whole nationwide movement of national renewal and national reconstruction. The Second Chinese-Japanese War took place from July 7, 1937 to September 9, 1949. It was the largest Asian war in the 20th century. The war is known in China as the Gangzhan. First of all, until 2041, China fought alone. But after Pearl Harbor, the war against Japan became part of the Allied cause. After the Gangzhan, the Chinese Communist Party, who had such an important role in fighting against the Japanese, took over power, and the Chinese People's Republic of China was proclaimed on October 1st, 1949. This classical historical picture of Chairman Mao Zedong proclaiming the founding of the People's Republic of China is known to all Chinese. The Chinese people has stand up. 中国人站起来了. And the national integrity was recovered. Here we have the historical date in 1997, the day Hong Kong was united with the motherland. I have come almost to the end of my talk. I just want to take you in a very short excursion to the place you're going to see this afternoon, the Imperial Palace. You will enter here through this historical place where the People's Republic of China was proclaimed, where the demonstration of the 4th May also took place, where the Boxer rebellion was foiled, the Tiananmen. And you will go in through this vast building, which is called the Old Palace, Gugong, which is still built on the same, sensibly the same model as the Imperial Palace of Kublai Khan, as the center of the world. You will see this grandiose stage of splendor, of Chinese cultural splendor. But you will see no cannons. You will see no military display. You will see very simple and beautiful and grandiose architecture, of course, compared to, let's say, the Versailles Palace or the Louvre Palace or the White House. I mean, the Imperial Palace of Beijing, the old palace, is absolutely incomparable. It's so big. Please put on good shoes this afternoon. It's enormous, and you will only see a small part of it. But it's at the same time grandiose and very simple. It was, until 1911, the residence of the Son of Heaven. It was imperial without being imperialistic. It was stern without guns, beautiful but without luxury, grand and yet human. The old palace was intended for the great rites and ceremonies of the Chinese state, and these always remained based on the Chinese classics. So it looks outside very Confucian, but in fact, in the innermost recess of the palace, there is this room where the most important decisions of the state were taken. And here we see an inscription above the throne which says, "Do nothing." A Taoist precept, Wu Wei. Do not interfere against nature, and all will be in order. Or, even more clearly, adapt to the circumstances. And also, a little-known fact is that at the very summit, at the very apex, to the uttermost north place, the most noble place of the imperial palace, there is a Taoist temple. It's called the Taoist Temple of Imperial Peace, Qinangong. Because indeed, between the two main ways of thought in China, there is a hierarchy. Confucius is the disciple of Lao Tzu. Culture is the disciple of nature. Natura artis magistra. Together, their union of culture and the union of nature makes that heaven and man, heaven standing for nature, the natural order, are united. Tian Ren He Yi. And together, they culminate in the cosmic principle of yin and yang and the zhi, because everything always changes. Taoism in Chinese culture stresses adaptation. The highest good is to be like water. Confucianism stresses learning, to study and whenever possible apply what you have learned. Is not the source of joy, is the first sentence of the Confucian Analects. Today, everywhere in the world, people learn Chinese. Chinese food, Chinese medicine, and Chinese self-cultivation practice are welcomed everywhere. Here, a picture in London, people learning Tai Chi Chuan. My conclusion is that cultural exchange brings cultural development. And only when we are willing to learn from each other will humanity enjoy peaceful progress. Thank you very much.